of all, a big congratulations from Team Business World on winning this award. Do share with us as to what this award means to you.
Thank you. It's truly inspirational, and as I said, I never thought that I'm going to make it, but thank you and thanks. I just saw the way the jury had to select from 700 odd CFOs and to shortlist to 45 of them. I can really imagine that they have gone through quite a bit of process, and also it was a tough challenge for them because as they have mentioned that it was just like winning and losing on a particular day. So yeah.
So we're talking about finance leadership. One of the interesting points that came out in the discussions that we're having this morning is that today there is a growing synergy between the role of a CFO and a CEO. What are your thoughts on this growing synergy?
I think CFOs are the lieutenants to the CEO. So they are the fallback guy of the CEO, also the board. And because whenever a CEO takes a decision or try to get into any kind of a strategy or any thoughts, like be it M&A, be it funding, raising, capital, people, tough decisions, critical decisions, he has no other person to go, because these are, when a CEO comes to a CFO, these are mostly into the strategic areas, not on the technical things. Like CEOs can come to an operations head for a technical purpose, but not for the strategic or for the future of the company or something like that. Or if there is something very serious happens in the company, he knows that this is one person who can come for my rescue is the CFOs. I would say that this can be compared as the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. Yeah.
So if you look at this year's budget, the government has made a massive allocation of rupees 10 lakh crore towards capex. Right. I want to understand from you that how do you see the private capex cycle kicking in with the investments from the government side? What's the credit demand that the private sector is looking at? Give us a scenario, brief intro, your insights as to what you're seeing in the market.
See, I think as far as why my perspective goes, there are a lot of talks about the economy and all these things. I think in India we are pretty stable. Of course, there is going to be some kind of a challenge due to the global uncertainties and the geopolitical issues. But overall, I think this year is, even it's not going to be super exciting, but at the same time, it is not going to be so depressing. And India is a consumption economy, and thanks to some of the changes which has happened in the government's initiative on Make in India effort, and we can see this effort is growing, and there is a lot of capex, as you mentioned, the capital expenditure which is happening by the government and all the companies. I think this is the right time to invest in the proper way, which will generate your future revenue and profits.
2023 seems to be starting with a lot of pain points carried forward from 2022. Inflation remains sticky. Central banks are, their pedal pressed hard on the monetary tightening spree. Then, of course, growth is moderating a bit. What's your outlook from your company's perspective for the fiscal year ahead, and how do you plan to navigate as a finance leader?
So I think in every sector there is a pretty good demand, and unlike the year of the pandemic, which actually stopped the entire kind of a movement across, and there was shutdowns and lockdowns and all these things, so that is not going to happen. And as I said, that India being a consumption economy, it is going to bounce back, and it is bouncing back. There are a lot of tractions, there are a lot of indices which can be seen. Stock market also is seen. And then we need to correct on few things, but I think overall if the expenditure kicks in, both from the government side on the infrastructure and all this, and from the private, because this is the best time to invest. And for M&A and for whatever reason the company can actually, I don't see in terms of capital, the capital is going to be very cheap. But I do interact with a lot of international private equity or the bigger guys, the hedge fund guys and all. They say that there is a lot of dry powder by the side, but they are going to only get invested in the company who has got a future, who is going to, are the cash positives, or there is a pathway to positive in a near-term future. So these are the companies that those guys are going to invest, and they are going to only select the leaders first. So I think it may be in one way good. There is corrections on the valuations and focus on the more reality rather than, aspirational values and all these things. Yeah.
My last question to you, given now, the challenges have come in front of us for the economy, what would be that one biggest learning or advice that you would like to give to finance leaders among your generation, or let's say even future finance leaders, to navigate through such unforeseen economic challenges for their companies?
I think it's pretty simple. Cash is the king. Manage your cash well. Have your runway to whatever time you can manage. Don't splurge or don't invest in a risky affair or risky projects at this point in time. Only invest in those areas where you know that you have to invest for your future growth, and there is certainty. There is some kind of a certainty, and don't take any unnecessary bets or risks at this point in time.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time this evening, and once again, big congratulations.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, and all the best.